can we get right? Tonight, tonight, can we get right? Tonight, tonight, can we get right? Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Hey, I need some of your love tonight.
Hi.
G'day, Santiani, how you going?
Hi, I'm great. How are you, Martin?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks a lot for having me on board today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And
Yeah.
wow, I didn't imagine that we are actually meeting on air because supposedly we gotta have like a real coffee time and talk about stuff. Wow,
Yeah.
I think we just don't waste time right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Well,
where are you at home?
yeah, working from home. We've been self-isolating for about 2 weeks now, so just to be safe.
Yeah, true. It's been 3 weeks for me, and
Yeah.
right now I came up with a new routine. Like every morning when I wake up, that's why I'm doing live in my car because
Yeah.
driving is some sort of like a therapeutic session for me. Just because
Right.
I don't like to be home whole day. And
Yeah.
Martin, I think we really haven't got to know each other since I believe that you can introduce yourself better than myself, and maybe we need to learn more about what's your background and stuff.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So obviously, I'm a Chief Creative Officer at Receiliart. We essentially work with purpose-driven startups and SMBs. And help them attract and retain highly profitable customers at scale. My background is actually in business. So I studied commerce. I was an accountant and studying my MBA at the moment. So really the process that we love diving into is looking at a business, at a company from both a macro and micro perspective, but from a macro perspective in terms of everything from supply chain to the value proposition to the strengths of the business owners themselves, because obviously they're the areas that I connect with in regards to my background in business.
Wow, that's awesome. And when you start, how to spell your name correctly? I mean, the last part, I mean, your surname is kind of tricky, right?
Yeah, so my family background is Polish, so it's Kolodzeij
Kolodzeij.
and Kolodzeij, yeah.
Kolodzeij. Okay, wow, that's a twist.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I believe when you came up from like a business background, then you can see not just like from the branding side, but because branding is like standing in the middle, like we're bridging the gap between, let's say, creativity and also business side. So
100%.
yeah, and what is your passion? Like, I believe that brand strategy has been in your blood right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it interest you so much?
I think probably the most I guess inspiring and I guess stimulating aspect of it is being able to really find a way to articulate the full potential, both visually and through like messaging and verbal articulation, the full potential of both the business owner and their vision for a company, as well as the company itself.
Yeah.
It's almost like a rearranging process of having areas that feel disconnected and seem disconnected, and bringing them together in a way that actually communicates and achieves value both internally and externally with the market.
All right, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, how is will I spell this correctly? Receiliart or
Yeah, Receiliart.
how do I spell it?
Receiliart.
Receiliart. Okay, Receiliart.
Yeah.
Is that something? Does it have a meaning like behind the name or?
Yeah. So Receiliart actually stands basically for creativity, creative expression, and breaking boundaries. You probably noticed that in our logo now that I've said that.
Yeah.
But the meaning behind it is actually our creative director. Her middle name was given to her by her parents, and it's Receiliart. So Receiliart. Sorry. So it's a combination of different names that she has in her family. And then the art aspect is obviously bringing creativity into that. So that's the short story.
Oh wow, that's very creative.
Yeah.
And also, like I mean, not very accidental in one term. Like you get a
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And
Thanks a
yeah,
lot.
why do you somehow reach out to me from LinkedIn? And
Mm.
uh, what I
Yes.
saw
Glad
first
to.
is the purpose-driven kind of thing that you put there on your status, and that's what sold me, I guess. Like because I
Cool.
always like purpose is a very intimate word for me, and
Yeah. Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
I do really think like even at such time as this, like in crisis, what is
Mm.
being tasted is the real purpose that the brand stands for, because
Wow.
that
Yeah.
what matters really today, right?
Yeah.
And
100%.
yeah, okay, let's start this. Like, let's start with our topic. So, value
Yeah.
proposition. Uh, Working with some of the clients, like from startup to middle and also to high, sometimes they don't really understand some branding terms, you know, Martin, especially in
Mm.
Indonesia, because branding is not really like a very foundational thing here. Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
new
Mm-hmm.
skill, it's a new knowledge. So I think it's good when we can start with a brief definition, maybe from your side. What is value proposition?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. And totally on the same page in that, and the benefit is that that awareness is growing. But really, I mean, I think a lot of business owners, particularly if they're product driven, think of value proposition in terms of like their product or their services or their features. But really, what the value proposition is, and I mean, there's tons of different definitions. You can look them up and different expressions and ways to create one. But essentially, the way I see value proposition is like a process and the experiential assets that a brand uses to articulate its value to the market. It's got to be scalable, and it's really about creating something that's marketable but is not focused on the product and the features or the services that the business offers, which is usually the area that the business owners are so attached to because they're incredibly talented at what they do, and they know how to deliver the value,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about shifting that perspective from that area and aspect of the business to what is the value and really the feeling and the experience that the customer is going to get as a result of having engaged with the brand.
Wow, that's really comprehensive. Thank you for putting that straight up. And okay, so value proposition. What differentiate between value proposition and also brand positioning? Why brands or businesses need both of them? Mm, I think Martin is freezing, or is it my? Yeah, I think he's out of reach. Let's just wait for a bit. Uh, by the way, you guys still hear me clearly and see me clearly, right? Because I just want to know it's not me.
Sorry about that
Hi,
phone glitch.
no problem. It's okay. I mean, I Instagram Live is always been challenging, but it's okay because it's real.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, just now I was asking, why do we need both value proposition and also brand positioning in building business and
Mm.
brand?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, like I mentioned, I guess the value proposition as a business owner, you want to find clarity in the way that you communicate value to the market.
Yeah.
Um, and the value that you bring. But in regards to brand positioning, it's more in regards to the strategy that you use to directly, I guess, resonate with your most profitable segments of the market, the ones that are going to naturally be attracted towards the brand, as well as the values that it stands for. Because as you and I both know, really building a brand for a company is very much just about identifying the various levels of self-image that a consumer has, and that obviously displays itself through their purchase behavior, and mapping that back to the way that the brand positions itself in the market, for those different segments, the different demographics of the market.
Yeah, that's nice. So I was reading some articles. Like I think the term value proposition is being popularized by Warren Buffett from the very first start, and he was mentioning something about like value proposition is actually a bigger picture of what you are actually offering, but then inside the value proposition brackets there are maybe 2 to 3 positionings statements that eventually the marketing team will play around with those tools.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah,
Is that how it works?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it really does, like, the value proposition isn't necessarily concrete, like, from the beginning. It can evolve, particularly if you're dealing with like a startup that scales to like a 7, 8, 9-figure company. The value proposition is going to develop, and really it's going to be most likely refined. But in that, like, you have those multiple segments of the market. And with those multiple segments of the market should come subsets of value proposition, because you're communicating the value to their specific context. With different products and service tiers, you're also going to most likely have different subsets of value proposition. So that totally makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think most of us already understand what is the differentiation between value proposition and also the brand positioning. So I think the next thing will be okay. So now the real thing is when, like you said, Martin, when we're facing with such a crisis, how to actually really deliver our value proposition to the customers.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, right now, obviously, it's an unprecedented time for a lot of different business owners, whether they've been around for a long time or they're, backed by a VC, or they're bootstrapping, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The crunch is really on to figure out exactly how to communicate that value to the market. And I think that what is happening right now is actually, it's creating this raw, open space and creating opportunity for self-reflection. Like, how valuable are we really presenting ourselves to the market? Because right now the market is speaking more than ever. Like, if there's ever been a time where dollars have been directed to certain propositions of value in the market, and really been isolated in those areas, it's now. People aren't as, I guess people are more focused on where they're putting their money right now. So in that, the value proposition for a company, for, say, if you're a business owner, or you're looking to start a business, the best way to figure out exactly how to articulate that is to really identify, within the context of what you do, the result, the outcome that someone's going to get working with you, or buying from you, or being involved in your services, and really the process that's involved in that. So, I mean, you look at Starbucks, you've got their value proposition is essentially the third place between home and work. Now, coffee is involved in that, but there's a process involved. Like, that paints a picture. You see yourself going between work and home and entering that third place, which is the Starbucks. Coffee is obviously a large part of that. But the experience in that is, okay, what could that look like? If there's a third place between work and home, what could that look like? What is the experience going to feel like? How is it going to really add value to the customer? And they build, I mean, the value proposition isn't just a statement. It's the experience itself as well. So it's really important for business owners to think of it in that regard, because it actually opens up doors for huge opportunity for them to really differentiate themselves in the market. And identifying previous results, maybe that you've gotten for the customers, or previous feedback, whether it's through service or product. And what was the feedback that you got? What were the results that you got for your customers, for your clients, or through your products and services? And how did that make them feel? What was the outcome that they received through that engagement? And then building the value proposition around that. So let's say, for example, I mean, I've been speaking with someone that's more in the leadership space. And like I mentioned before, incredibly smart, incredibly good at delivering value, helped a well-known company here in Indonesia really scale and double their revenue. It's well into 7 figures, if I remember correctly, in a very short period of time. But the focus is so much on the product. So the process that I went through with them is really looking at, okay, what do you actually help them do through that leadership? Are you helping them achieve something faster? Are you avoiding waste in a particular area? Are you creating greater connection with your customers? And what is the articulation of that connection? So really diving into those areas for a business owner is key, because I mean, we know the story of like the diamonds, right? Buried in the field, and the owner of the field is going, looking everywhere else for the diamonds, but the diamonds are right in their backyard. It's the same with business owners. Like, you have so much potential, so much value right here, right now, where you are. And it's just a matter of being very objective about that, and being confident in leveraging the expertise that you have.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a really deep, I mean, diving so deep within it. And it's something new for me to hear that. And
Cool.
something interesting that you pointed out just now is about customer connection. So basically, when are you saying that when we first craft our value proposition, say for a new upcoming business, it is still very ideal, right? It is still very, very raw, because we
100%.
wouldn't see how the human's gonna interact with it, how customer will feel about it, what are the driving buying method that they're gonna integrate with your brands. So say if you already come up with one very nice, very strong value proposition for your brands or business, it will still be tested over times with how the customer is interacting with it, right?
Yeah,
So do you have
100%. Yeah, that's a great point. I think there's no straight answer for that, which is, I mean, it's the beauty of business. Is we think business is a linear progression. it's I mean, if you're a business owner, you know for a fact that it's not.
Yeah.
And really anyone that's achieved any level of success in business will tell you the same. So I think there are aspects to it that really are malleable, and that require pivoting at times. We have pivoted our own value proposition multiple times, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I
Yeah.
think there's also this other aspect, which really plays into, I guess, the psychology of the execs and the business owners themselves, which is being comfortable with the discomfort of having a future anchor, which is the future version of yourself, and filling that space in between, which takes process. So if you have a value proposition that really feels like a fast stretch and you don't know quite how to get there, we as humans have a success mechanism that works a lot of the time without us realizing that as long as we have that anchor, we will naturally find a way to close the gap.
Mm.
And it's really important to recognize that, because in that discomfort, you're actually grinding out the process of becoming that future version, that value proposition, which feels like a fast stretch. Now, obviously, there's integrity, there's, fulfillment for a customer. You got to stay true to that, and you need to deliver on that front. But I think the biggest asset that a brand can build in general for a company is actually creating that anchor of the future self, and the business owner being okay with the discomfort of the fact that sounds grandeur and incredible. We're not there yet, but we can take steps towards that.
Yeah. So meaning when you create a value proposition, which is like a bigger picture of what what promises that you're gonna deliver, you have to come up also with action steps.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that really, I mean, when you talk about action steps, you're diving into really like the product or service offering, the way that it's delivered, the supply chain, and really the business processes, right? So in delivering a product or a service, there are multiple business processes, and ensuring that they're like optimized to actually reduce the friction that occurs throughout the process of delivering value.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how far-reaching actually a value proposition? I know that basically it's going to be determined by how dynamic your business is growing, but at the same time, if you have both brand vision and also the value proposition, which are more far-reaching?
Which are what, sorry?
Which is more far-reaching? Because just now you said that value proposition is something that actually your future self maybe you want to be, right? But then how does it connecting with your brand vision? Does it really have to, let's say, okay, brand position, value proposition is actually level 3, and then brand vision is level 1, so it's much further, or is it actually in a similar level?
I would say definitely the brand vision is that macro, more distant type of like encompassing what is the big vision that we have. With the value proposition, I guess it's like it is that micro statement and experience on a day-to-day basis, and with the customers or clients that you have, that is really the engine for achieving that vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's very clear. Thank you for pointing that out, because I believe so many companies don't even know how to even craft their vision from the very first stage, and then if we bring up something like value proposition, I believe they will be very confused. Like, why do I need this when I already have my vision and blah blah blah. That's how actually our services are pretty much expensive because it's not just it's not just like about crafting a beautiful statement, but you
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
back in business.
Disruption. Yeah. So no, I was just telling all the people when actually they haven't come in yet right now. So we will. Hello. Okay. Is it clear now?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Oh my God.
Yeah,
This
it
is.
was just a bit glitchy.
Yeah. But actually, my mobile signal is pretty full. That's why I don't know what's because last time I mean in this area and also
Yeah.
this position, I mean in around the neighborhood, it's always good. So I don't know what's going on today. But let's continue about. Do you have any key elements for us to actually what made an effective value proposition?
Yeah, I think the key elements are really looking at really, and again, like this plays into the psychology of the owner, but what is like the product or service that you have, and what's going to be the benefit of that product or service. So you don't necessarily have to mention the product or service. You can
Purpose point of view, or do we come up because they we have already collected our research on how the customer actually needs something or desire something of a product that they have been waiting for. So do you have any idea on how to like connect the customer with the value proposition?
Yeah, okay. So I mean, so you have the value proposition, you have the articulation of it, but in that, you've also got a company. You have a company. You have a brand. Ideally, they have, a digital platform through which they're communicating, their website, their social media. And so this is really where it creates this marriage between the value proposition and then the actual expression of the company through the brand, through, say, if it's brick and mortar or whatever it is, through their website. That's where that connection actually starts to happen. It's in the value proposition itself, but then also the expression of that value proposition and how it's presented to the market. Because you can have a great value proposition, and if it's not presented in a way that is credible, creates trust, and communicates in the way that the profitable segments of the market expect to be communicated to, there's going to be a disconnect. It's that's really where you start diving into the area of making claims, but not having the. It's like saying we have a 5-star restaurant or a hotel, sorry, a Michelin star restaurant or a 5-star hotel, but and communicating the value in a way that a Michelin star restaurant or a 5-star hotel would communicate that value, but at the end of the day, the actual expression of it and the delivery of it is not there. There's going to be disconnect, and I think that's where you would lose out in that situation.
Yeah, I always think that principle where you do more and say less is actually beneficial. Like,
Yeah. 100%.
I mean,
That's really good.
if you deliver much more than you promised it to be, it is much more important than you say it out loud without having any customer real experience to it, right?
Yeah, that's really good. That's a really great point.
Okay, brand loyalty. When I asked you about the topic, and then you said that right now it's very hard to still deliver some experiences. I mean, for the company to the customer, because uh, we are in a real world, but actually everybody's moving in and out, doing things from their home.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so how do we still can pull off our brand experience, say not just in a digital platform, to really still sustain the brand loyalty?
Yeah. There's going to be different, obviously, different industries that are going to approach this a different way. And the reality is like a lot of businesses right now are pivoting. They're pivoting in the services that they offer or the way in which they offer them.
Yeah.
And so I think like building brand loyalty during this time, it's going to be contextually relevant, and there are going to be some things that apply, but I mean, our expectation is that things will go back to normal in regards to that person-to-person, face-to-face experiences. So,
Yeah.
but I think what a lot of companies are finding right now is that there's untapped streams of revenue that they're going to then continue after this is over. So in terms of building brand loyalty, like I had mentioned to you with like direct-to-consumer brands, direct-to-consumer brands are I mean, there's a fair few of them in Indonesia, but they're relatively new. Like I think in regards to the fact that just the payment systems and use of credit cards and different demographics in the market really are evolving. So as they evolve, it'll continue to increase. But with the direct-to-consumer company, building brand loyalty for them is really about finding ways to substitute the in-person experience. Now, I'm not saying you modulate or you create the in-person experience through a delivery experience or a digital experience, but you create substitutes. So consumer behavior is the same, like pretty much for the last 50 years. It's evolved, but it's pretty much the same in regards to the psychology. So
Yeah.
people are going to be loyal to something that's unique, something that increases their picture of themselves and the value that, like the way that they see themselves, the self-image of the customer. That's why like some people will only buy from certain brands and not buy from others. It's because of their self-image. So building brand loyalty in for say a direct-to-consumer company, it really looks like maximizing the personalization of the delivery experience.
Mm.
For a services-based company, potentially it looks like maybe I would say dumbing down the automated aspects of their onboarding, their sales, and really creating a more human experience. I mean, right now the goal with everything that's going on is to maximize the human experience, which customers would automatically be okay with it being automated because they're so used to it. Right now, it's really important to bridge the gap and really work on developing the business. And obviously, a huge part of that is going to be the digital experience. Like a lot of businesses are going to see that, okay, we thought that this was an add-on. It's not. It actually needs to be an integral part of what we do.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good one. And something to add up just now when you mentioned about delivering all the things with the digital transformation sector. Apparently, when some companies that is very robotic in terms of automation in their sales and blah blah blah, when you try to again just now you said transition it into a more humanizing level, there will be an element of surprise that actually your customer will feel, because they get used to how you communicate with them through your products and blah blah blah, for your company profit, definitely for your company benefit as well.
Yeah.
But when you try to not say cut it off, but pause a little and just try to leverage much more into how to be empathizing and also be helpful for your company to help your customers right now, even in service agencies, say Ogilvy and blah blah blah. They're not selling services right now. They are actually helping their clients, maybe without like well, if I help you on this area, then you need to pay my consultation fee and blah blah blah. No, I think right now what they're trying to offer, say the clients and the customers of Ogilvy, is actually helping them and how to still be able to implement the strategy into the market, but at a more empathizing way. Because it's not about pulling your products out there and your service offers out there, but it's about pulling people together for a certain cause right now, maybe to use your product for a better benefits and blah blah blah. Because like when I see all these things happening even in Jakarta, when I did a talk in the previous talk with Michael, he mentioned about that, say restaurants. Okay, even though we deliver a lot of food to our homes right now through via Gojek or Grab, eventually the restaurants itself cannot answer the demands because it's huge. I mean, right now everybody needs food delivered to their places. And the most important thing is, how do you innovate with the ingredients that you have in your restaurants? Because right now everybody's gonna be online and ordering food, where I don't know even in Jakarta how many thousands restaurants are here. So how do you even compete? But right now it's not about beating, it's more about contributing to those needs. The more you can contribute to fill other people's physiological needs, such as food, they will definitely build a trust and loyalty to you. Say for example, if you're selling let's say nasi goreng, you know nasi goreng, right? And then you that's your best seller in your restaurants, right? So everybody know you for that famous nasi goreng. And right now people going to the supermarket are really fighting against with other customers that looking for rice to cook at their home. So instead of just actually, because those restaurants, I mean, they have maybe plenty of resources on how to get rice better than us. So why not without just selling a finished product like the nasi goreng and then deliver it to other people's homes, why not those, let's say that restaurant particularly, come up with a recipe, and at the same time they can package it in a way, let's say you have rice, you have this my typical flavor recipe that you can DIY at home. So those kind of thing is actually innovating product, but at the same time
100%.
at the same time it's fun, you know, like people are staying at home, they can practice your recipe at their home. So I think that's one or two things that even just retail can start to think about how to implement this, because we never know, like even in Jakarta, how many days, how many weeks are we going to be at home right now?
100%.
So
that's a great point, and I think that really comes down to the fact that what's going on right now, I mean, there are some aspects where businesses are obviously looking to keep the cash flow, the bread and butter of the business going, but it is forced innovation. It is really seeing that every business is a content creator. They create content through their in-person experiences, or they create content through their digital experiences. And really, this is a great opportunity for to refine the in-person experiences, but also see that like there's a huge amount of untapped potential in the digital space that we don't necessarily have to pour all our resources into, but we can leverage to maximize the experience that that the market is having with our brand.
Yeah. I do agree. There are so many rooms, I mean, spaces for actually brands and companies right now to move around eventually, even though it seems like everybody's stuck. But so next question would be, you mentioned about building a groundwork or framework to sustain your brand experience once everything like this post-COVID customers gonna experience after, let's say, the retail is opening. So how can you explain that? What type of frameworks do we need?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, I guess where that stemmed from was my personal experience with like direct-to-consumer brands. Like I mentioned, like part of it was out of fun and just let's give this a go. And I have a need, and plus I want to do some research of just how it's evolving in Indonesia. But I think it's really in the delivery for like a direct-to-consumer. It's in delivery. So I bought from one direct-to-consumer business that I'm not an environmentalist by any standard, but it was wrapped in more bubble wrap than I could probably use in about a year for a very small product. So for me personally, like I was thinking, this goes straight in the bin. Like this is not necessary. And another D2C company that I bought from had really great packaging, personalized letter or note, I should say, that it was articulating the vision of the company and really providing a huge amount of value through that experience. So there was a huge disparity between the two, and that really, I mean, that is the brand experience. I mean, the box for the D2C company that I really liked was branded. It had in-box printing, really on point with like who they're going after in the segments of the market, obviously because I connected with it and I'm going to buy from them again. But the brand experience, it stems from the psychology of the executive team and the business owner. So if they want to invest more into how the market experiences their brand, they're going to find innovative ways, probably better ways than I can probably, suggest right now, because they have that motivation, they have that drive. Without that, I mean, you can, like they say, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So it's got to be an innate part of the leadership team of a business, because they will naturally find innovative ways to build a brand experience that is unique, creative, sustainable, and in the end leverages those assets for the profitability of the company.
So what do you think, like, let's say if all the retails open, I know that right now everybody's doing a quick response on how to bring everything on digital. So when they actually permitted to open back all their stores, how do you think that this is going to change the behavior of the customer? Because I mean, I don't know, let's play on the prediction part, because right now everybody's gonna think that if I don't really need a lot of time to go somewhere to get something, then I can still use this formula to only deliver stuff to my home. Right? So how do stores can still win it when eventually people right now think that they can get everything comfort from their home? So how is the retail gonna be beneficial in the future when they're facing this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I personally think that once things get back to normal, there's going to be like a huge inflow of spending. It's kind of like the issue right now is not supply. The issue right now is access.
Yeah.
So once people get access, it's going to be like a bull out of the gate. But in regards to like the retail space, clearly, I mean, this pokes holes in the business model more than anything else. So I think that there's going to be a lot more movement and business owners suddenly becoming cognizant of the fact that their business model needs to be more malleable than what they had previously expected. And that part of that experience that they're going to build, I think, is in regards to like the in-store, the staff training is going to be huge. In really getting further buy-in into the company with the staff, but then also transitioning it for the brand experience online. Everything from their social to their website, and then potentially like altering their business model for delivery or online experience. Yeah.
Well, okay. You know what? Something that I learned very funny is that because all of this quarantine idea and been 3 weeks of ordering my coffee online, I mean through the delivery channels, let's say Starbucks, and they keep on in like every single delivery order that I ordered, they always put some sort like 3 vouchers of discounts. Vouchers, say 30% of it, for me to make myself go to that retail, I mean to their retail, and get the coffee take away from that retail. So basically, that's one of the strategy that Starbucks putting on the plate last time. But right now, I think because they see a lot of people are still ordering their stuff even through their houses, but from first week to second week, I think because they still need to, I mean, their staffs are still working there in their retailers, but how to still can serve the customer even it's in the retail. So they are trying to attract the customer with that discounts voucher so that we are able to go there. But eventually that didn't work to me because I still order my stuff from delivery. So I have like this 1 dozen of vouchers that are unused because so I think maybe if there is a Starbucks nearby my home that is a drive-through, then it will work. But then if I need to go to mall and park my car there and need to get the coffee voucher, I think that voucher already is a sum up of my parking fee. You know, like
I think naturally some of the businesses like Starbucks is at the end of the day they're an in-store experience. They've been to leverage their technology and their customer base to continue delivering, essentially really just to break even at best, right? Or to for a lot of businesses, it's just like making sure that we break even. Other businesses, it's still making a profit, but obviously not to the extent that they were expecting. I think people are just doing what they can and being okay with failing is the biggest thing. Like if we fail, great. It's actually not a failure. We've actually learned something.
Yeah, because like you said, this is unprecedented time. So nobody has a clear idea on how to solve it, like on how to really market their stuff out there. So it's very okay for them to just come up with new ways, new ideas, and try to learn whether this work or whether that doesn't work. And it's
100%.
okay because nobody can tell you what to do right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's I mean, obviously work from home. I have a son, so I think the biggest lesson that I'm learning right now is from Frozen 2, and it's that scene where Anna is, she's devastated because her sister is lost, and the solution is to do the next right thing. Like, what's the next right thing that we can possibly do? And I think that's Disney have been teaching us models for both mindset and process to achieve the outcomes that we want for decades, and we just haven't realized it, and now we actually get an opportunity to implement it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think we just somehow process things differently right now for whatever that we are watching or reading, because we have so many time in our pocket to think. And I think that's what actually the company and also brands needs to do right now, not just to try to fight against the crisis, but also to reflect and revisit everything, like you said in the beginning, revisit their values,
100%. Yeah, that's such a good point.
It will prepare and also propel them forward when it is all okay already.
Yeah.
And I believe somehow that when it's all finished, if these things has already passed, I believe that the economy will skyrocket, like in a whole different manner, because everybody's already cannot wait to launch something. Everything's been delayed, everything's been postponed, I believe once everything done, everybody is innovating, everybody is coming out with new products just to cover up some of the losses that they made, and also the bankruptcy that they have, so I think it's a really good time, even just for us personally, to really prepare ourselves, brace ourselves, because once it skyrocketed, we would need a new mentality, a new perspective on how to handle it later. Because if we don't catch up with the pace in the next future, we are gonna be the one that's gonna be left behind.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think if people are going to take away anything from today, it's exactly what you've said. Is like, now is the time to double down on those areas. Failure, no failure, loss, no loss is to take an account and move forward and get ready for that. I think, like what you're saying, that exponential expression of both growth, spending, innovation in those areas.
Yeah. I think we don't have any question, Martin. Like, really, nobody. Actually, just now before I ended the first live session, there is this one question in the cards, but I haven't actually opened it up, so I don't know what's the question is.
Okay.
So if anyone here is the one that writes that question, and if you want to ask it again, feel free. But if somehow, let's put it 9 o'clock. If there's no question, then I think we will need to wrap this.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Do you still have really serving clients right now? Because for me, higher purpose is a little bit slowing down in terms of, I think every clients are just hold back with all those stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely not excused from that pattern that's currently happening in the market. We do have projects that are running that are longer term. So we're still engaged with that. We have recurring work with our existing client base as well. So we're not exempt from that. We've had clients that are still processing their decision, and really is going to be tentative on just how things unfold.
Hello? Martin, I kind of lost your voice. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
There we go. Instagram, delivering the goods today.
Yeah. But yeah, wow, I think it's a really, really very insightful things from you. I learned a lot.
Thank you too. Likewise.
Yeah, I think, wow, I am so happy that I made a connection from LinkedIn, and then somehow we can actually contribute to do this stuff together. And I always never come from a point of view of competing with other brand agency or any other creative studios, because for me,
Yeah, it's
like,
fantastic.
we do things differently. We have different approaches, even in the
Yeah.
same deliverables or maybe the same service that we offer. So
Hmm.
if I think if everybody differentiate themselves enough and know where they are standing from, we don't really need to be afraid of who's still who, because
Hmm.
in Indonesia it's different game here. I don't know how long have you been here, by the way?
Coming up 6 years.
Wow, that's pretty long. So before Jakarta, where do you live?
Before Jakarta, I was in Bali. So
But Bali and Jakarta is already 6 years. I mean,
yeah,
Indonesia.
Bali, Jakarta, already 6 years. We're coming up 6 years. Yeah.
So what makes you move from Bali to here?
To be honest, I actually first moved to help some friends out who are running a not-for-profit. So it was meant to be a short trip, and I was essentially coming over to help them out, and it ended up being a much longer trip.
Yeah, who expected, right? So you mean like after this quarantine times, you're gonna fly back to Bali?
No, so I live in Jakarta.
Oh, you already live in here. Okay,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is
sure.
one question actually now that
Yeah,
I
I saw that.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
you want to answer that? Can I ask something about my brand? My brand is running in wedding photography and I stuck. What I have to do?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing I mean, it's like the businesses that it's essentially an event space business, right? So no people contact. I think really it's diving into what we were talking about before, is really finding and starting to dive into the innovative opportunities that you have in front of you. Like the reality is everybody to a certain extent is experiencing some form of retraction, unless they have a digital business model like say Zoom, Instagram, where they are leveraging the fact that everyone is going on, right? That like when everyone else was winning, they were trying to, win. Now everyone else is kind of more on the retraction side of things, and they're winning. So I think it's part of it is just mentally. If you're in a business that is in say the event space, like a wedding photographer, it's coming to terms with the fact that and being okay with like there was a time when you were winning and other people weren't winning as much, and now maybe things are retracting for you, and other people are winning. It's celebrating those wins for other people. But then in regards to like the practicality side of things, it's really like narrowing in on exactly like what we're talking about, the value proposition.
Yeah.
What is the actual value? Because you're not just a wedding photographer. Like you have specific strengths, background, those acres of diamonds in your backyard that you think you think that the answer is outside of you, but actually the answer is inside of you. So looking at what are the patterns, what are the results that you've gotten from your clients, your customers, diving into the value that you've been able to provide for them. And maybe it's actually a time to look at pivoting and moving towards part of a digital offering, and partnering maybe with other. Maybe it's a time to actually start reaching out and creating some sort of joint venture or partnership with other companies in maybe a similar space that you can leverage your skills to add value to their business. Maybe it's a matter of connecting with other photographers, maybe in different regions nationally or internationally in the wedding space, and seeing what kind of partnerships you can strike up. Because right now, everyone's looking for answers in a space that is there's. I mean, I don't want to use the word, so I won't. But people don't know what's coming next to the full extent.
Yes.
So reach out, start connecting, start increasing those relationships outside of the box of being a wedding photographer brand. Start to look at ways that you can extend your services and really create like tiers of service offering, so that, I mean, I'm a big believer in the fact that challenges or problems or setbacks are really just opportunities in disguise.
Yes.
So right now, as a business owner and potentially as a wedding photographer brand, it's really time to just sit down and start writing down. I mean, it doesn't sound glamorous. It doesn't sound, in 5 minutes I make a profit from it, but start writing down ideas. What have I done successfully in the past? What have I not done successfully in the past? What is an opportunity present in those areas? And then start looking at, like, you might be a wedding photographer, but perhaps it's time to start broadening out into teaching wedding photography, setting up a course on how to do wedding photography, because that is both scalable and it's leverage digital assets and platforms that we have. So there's no easy answer, but build the brand for what you wish it would be, despite present, in fact, irrespective of present circumstances, and that will create an anchor for you to become that in the future.
Yeah, that's really good. Apparently, something that I would really want to point it out as well. And wow, who is that guy again? Rudy. I think you will have a lot of insights today, because I'm gonna extend to what apparently Martin just pointed out. Just got an idea. If, let's say, this is practical for you, I wouldn't charge this idea, but anyway, just now when Martin said that you can start a course maybe after this all done, why not starting now, right? I mean, online courses, it doesn't have to be very expensive. It doesn't require your whole amount of skill to pull up a webinar, online course that seems very hard for other people or other photographers that actually don't know how to shoot an emotion. I don't say that wedding, because wedding wouldn't be a wedding if there is no love essential thing in there. What you are trying to capture is people relationship, people's emotion, people love. And
yeah, so good.
I think one or the two things that you can do as a wedding photographer right now is, there are a lot of couples, a lot of families at home, and we've been actually sat down so that we can connect with them right now in a more family quality time kind of thing. So why don't make it a little bit more fun? Say, if you're really good at capturing moments, come up with an idea on how to initiate these couples at home to celebrate
100%. Yeah,
love,
so good. So good.
And let's say you come up with a simple filter, where it can be on Instagram, can be from other platform, and then teach a certain skill that they can take a nice picture at home with your guidelines and with your filter. Let's say, oh, it's a good angle if you find a window at your home, and then you place your spouse and yourself here and there nearby the sunlight, and then take it onto a different angle. You can celebrate all those moments at home, at the same time displaying love and relationship, and make it fun, so that they know, like, okay, even though I'm at home right now, I'm with my spouse, I'm with my couple, we can do something fun with this photography guidelines. So
yeah, that's so good. Exactly right.
Yeah,
it's spot on.
And not only online courses or webinar that you can do. Another thing is that you have a bank of photographies. I mean, you have a bank of photos that depicts or display such great emotion. And as a photographer, I believe you have different story with different couples. Why don't you try to show it off? I mean, just write some stuff about what you learned about these two couple in their wedding time, and then your picture will say 1,000 words, but at the same time you have a background story of it. People will be very interested, and maybe right now you wouldn't, I mean, coming out from this crisis, you wouldn't just be a wedding photographer, you will also become a wedding storyteller. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's so many ways. I think that
Yeah,
you can do it.
it's definitely I think a matter of sowing seeds and knowing that the return will come. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all. If you guys don't have any more questions, because if Martin gonna do this kind of consultation or insights after this crisis, it will be very expensive. So you better ask right now.
Very glad to be on board with you.
Yeah. We probably can do it next other times. I don't know. Let's just see the needs. If you have an idea, Martin, you can always tell me, or you can always point it out, or maybe your company want to do this kind of thing. I also will be very happy to always join you.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. All right then. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I only thought that we're gonna finish it like 30 to 45 minutes, but it's already been an hour plus. So, yeah, okay. I think I wish you all the best, Martin, for everything that you're doing right now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you as well.
It's a privilege to be able to join you. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Have a nice day, Martin.
Yeah, take care, Sansani.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon. Ciao.
Yeah, we'll talk. Ciao.